Very good morning, my colleagues. I'm Paulo, Jannuzzi, the Secretary for Evaluation and Information Management of the Ministry of Social Development and the Fight Against Hunger. I'd like to welcome our partners and our participants that came from all over the world, from more than 60 countries, in Asia, Africa, Americas, Europe, Oceania, and to learn, to share their experiences and also the challenges and solutions we're doing in each country to implement our national monitoring and evaluation systems and use this information for policy making. As you know, public policy and programs designed for a more welfare state needs more and more information and knowledge about society, its demands, its problems, and its complex social context. Evaluation, gathering, monitoring systems, evaluation surveys are important tools to improve public performance, its accountability, and also the program effectiveness, helping us to deliver the programs and service to a broader audience, to a broader public. This is why we are here in São Paulo at the third International Conference on National Evaluation Capacities, gently and very well organized by the UNDP Evaluation Office and the UNDP Brazilian office with the support of the Ministry of the Social Development. This conference is surely an outstanding opportunity to a broad dialogue between decision makers, public servants, and professionals conducting evaluation all over the world. To begin our presentation and discussions, I'd like to invite you all to watch a special video of the Brazilian anthem.
seja símbolo, o labarocco ostenta-se estrelado, pedindo o verde louro desta flâmula, mas no futuro e glória no passado. Mas se a vida justiça clama forte, verás que o filho teu não foge à luta, nem teme quem te adora a própria morte, terra adorada. Entre outras mil és tu, Brasil, ó pátria amada, dos filhos deste sol és mãe, gente, pátria amada, Brasil.
Thank you. I hope you may have some time to visit all the places you saw in this video. Well, to begin our presentations, I'd like to invite Madame Marianne Pinotti to come to the podium, and she is representing the state government, and she is Secretary of Evaluation of, she's the Secretary of the People with Disabilities. I also invite Rogério Haman, Secretary of Social Development of the São Paulo State Government. Passo a palavra a eles? Passo a palavra a eles ou chamo o Indran? Todos. I'd like to also call the main chief of this seminar, Mr. Indran Naidoo, Director of the UNDP Evaluation Office, to say a few words and also to introduce our opening key speaker, Mrs. Rebeca Grynspan. Okay. And I also would like to call Rebecca Grynspan, our Undersecretary of the United Nations, a very special and very kind person, and that helped us to organize this meeting. Sorry, I'm not so used to being a master of ceremonies, and also, as you may already note, and I'd like to call Marianne Pinotti to say a few words and welcome you. Thank you. Acho que pode falar.
Bom dia a todos. Espero que todos tenham fones. Eu vou falar em português, porque estamos no Brasil. Eu queria agradecer a oportunidade de estar aqui hoje e dar as boas-vindas a todos os senhores e senhoras na cidade de São Paulo.
I represent the city mayor, Fernando Haddad, in this gathering, and would like to welcome you into our city. The challenges of a conference like this is essential, that is to bring this to the public system, to the government, the population, to have an efficient management with monitoring and evaluation of every single action. It's an incredible challenge, not only for Brazil and for the developing country, but I think it's a challenge for democracy as a whole. I would like also to end this expecting that all of you have wonderful days in São Paulo, and I hope that the weather improves and you can see a little bit of sun in our our city and not think that Brazil is only with these strange rainy days. And to end up, I would like to tell you a phrase of the think tank and Roberto Bobbio that says the following: human rights, democracy and peace are three different stages of our history. Without human rights acknowledged and protected, there is no democracy. Without democracy, there is no minimal conditions for the pacific solution of the social conflicts. Thank you very much. A very wonderful event. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marianne. And I'd like also to invite to this first session the Ambassador Jorge Shediak, representing the UNDP office in Brazil. I invite Rogério Haman to say also some few words to welcome you.
Muito bom dia a todas e a todos.
Good morning to all of you.
Paulo
Jannuzzi, Secretary of Evaluation and Management of Information from the Ministry of Social Development and Struggle Against Hunger, and Secretary of the People with the Handicapped, Marianne Pinotti. This act representing our city mayor is Mr. Indran Naidoo, Director of the UNPD Evaluation Office, Rebeca Grynspan, that is the Secretary, Undersecretary General of the Social Jack, that's always has just been invited to the panel. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers of this conference, being a big honor to be here in this morning representing our Governor Geraldo Alckmin. Brazil is proud of being the siege or the host of this event that represents more than 160 countries and many other institutions. From the next couple of days, we're going to have discussion regarding evaluation. We are going to talk about the capacity of our country of monitor and evaluate those social policies. With this conference says to evaluate the performance of the public policies is essential for accountability, good governance, and better efficiency of our progress. Thus, the importance of understanding evaluation as a strengthful tool for public administration. For the state of São Paulo, we have done a partnership with the IDB, with the help of the UNPD, to create a program that should improve the efficiency of our policies of social development, mainly in monitoring and evaluation. We have developed the tools, including the informatization of our registry, the creation of a national plan online document for the transfer of funds, and a system that would compare data to benefit different institutions, actually assure the integration of the network and helping the work of the Secretary of Social Development of the State of São Paulo. The government of the São Paulo believes that evaluation helps to improve democracy and increase transparency of public policies. We also know the importance that the evaluators work independently and full access to all the necessary information. For all that, I repeat that they think that this gathering will provide opportunities of new projects of technical cooperation, and I hope that the dialogue will help to build a world where public policies meet their goal of providing good conditions of life to all citizens. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rogério, and And now I invite my counterpart of this conference, Mr. Indran Naidoo, Director of the UNDP Evaluation Office, to say a few words and introduce our key speaker.
Thank you very much, Paulo. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to see so many old friends, and I'm sure in the next few days we would make new friends from new countries and new sectors that will help to sustain us in this important work that we do. I also like to take this opportunity to officially welcome all of you to this third International Conference on National Evaluations. As you would have noticed in the website, the previous event was held in Johannesburg, South Africa, and prior to that in Morocco. And at the end of this event, we will decide where the next event is going to be in 2 years' time. I take this opportunity to say that this would not have been possible without the support and commitment of many partner institutions. Our co-hosts in Brazil, the Secretary for Evaluation and Information Management of the Ministry of Social Development and Fight Against Hunger, which I thank in the person of Paulo Jannuzzi. We've had an excellent working relationship in the last year in putting together an event that has been a true partnership, and I really wish to appreciate that very much. The city government and the state government of Sao Paulo, thank you so much. We were taken aback by the excellent event last night, the ballet, and for most of us it was an absolutely amazing event and set the tone for the next few days in your beautiful country and beautiful city. We are very appreciative. Our donors, the governments of Finland, Norway, United Kingdom, and Brazil. We have a representative today from Finland. Thank you so much for your kind support over the years, and we have messages from the other donors who have assisted. We also wish to acknowledge the honorable members of the advisory panel that guided the development of the conference program, and I'm going to take the opportunity to just ask members of the advisory panel to please stand. Thank you so much. What you would notice in the profile from the advisory panel, we have all sectors this time. And this event is the first in many regards. It's the first time that we have the voluntary organizations brought together from the eval partners, the governments, and the counterpart under one roof. So it's a historic first. It's also the largest evaluation event in the United Nations system. The previous, we had 29 countries, we now have 65. But more important, this event is being beamed across the globe in 140 countries. So everyone is watching. Our colleagues in eval partners, and personally, we are very, very grateful. The World Bank colleagues who are here today, the CLEAR, the Regional Center for Learning on Evaluation and Results, my UNDP colleagues from the Brazil Country Office, the Regional Service Center, and the Bureau for Development Center, who have worked in a new methodology which we are testing. As I said last night, this conference is your conference. You're going to make it work because it's an interactive event that moves away from the traditional modality of providing expert inputs. My loyal staff in the evaluation office, both here as well as in New York, who have worked around the clock, thank you very much. Also personally, we appreciate the pressure we've gone through. And I now have the singular honor of introducing the Honorable United Nations Under-Secretary General and UNDP Associate Administrator, Ms. Rebeca Grynspan, who I have had the privilege to introduce to make the keynote address. I first met Madame Grynspan a year and a half ago when I joined the evaluation office, and she remarked that I'm still smiling. I intend to continue to smile in my term of office. We all know how difficult evaluation is, but it's been an absolute pleasure to work with Rebeca as the key counterpart representing management in New York, and I've learned a tremendous amount from her experience, vast, as well as insights, and her ability to make difficult work pleasurable in the evaluation business. She mentioned yesterday, how do we convert experience to knowledge? And you will hear some lines on that. But more important, how do we convert knowledge into action, which fundamentally remains the theme of why we are here today. Ladies and gentlemen, on your behalf, allow me to call to the podium Rebecca Grynspan to deliver the keynote address.
Thank you very much. You know, sometimes after the presentation, you want to run and leave everybody with the impression of the presentation only, so you don't have to prove yourself. Thank you so much, Indran. Let me really thank Mr. Paulo de Martino Jannuzzi, Secretary of Evaluation and Information Management of the Ministry of Social Development and Fight Against Hunger in Brazil. We have a long-standing partnership with the ministry, so thank you for everything you have done for us. Mr. Rogério Haman, Sao Paulo State Government Secretary of Social Development, thank you for being with us. And together with Marianne Pinotti, Municipal Secretary for People with Disability, thank you for the warm welcome, for the wonderful evening yesterday, and for making us feel at home. Indran, Director of the UNDP Evaluation Office, and really the soul of this conference, thank you. And Jorge Chediek, the UN Resident Coordinator and UNDP Resident Representative in Brazil. Jorge and his team has been wonderful to make this happen. So let me also thank very quickly the donors and the governments of Finland, Norway, the United Kingdom, and Brazil. Really thank you for being with us. Here are the Finland representatives. They have been, you know, a sponsor and a support for this conference for many years. And I want to very specially recognize here the World Bank and CLEAR, the Regional Center for Learning and on Evaluation and Results. I don't see Christina. She must be around. Thank you really very much. And UNDP colleagues from the Brazil Country Office, the Bureau for Development Policy, and the Evaluation Office. So thank you all, ladies and gentlemen. I am really very pleased to have this opportunity to address you this morning. Let me start, as I said, to thank you for being here and for the representation that we have from all countries. I understand it's not 62 now, Indran, 65 countries have been. My last number was 62, so good that it's going up and not down. And all the delegates that are here. Your presence shows your commitment to building and sustaining effective national evaluation capacities that foster accountability and good governance. Transparency and accountability are key to effective democracies. And you mentioned that, Marianne, the importance, and the State Secretary too, the importance of evaluation for democracies. This is part of an equation that will be more and more important through time. And evaluation helps improve the effectiveness of public policy, programs, and service delivery. You know that one interesting thing about good governance and governments that are responsive to people is that we have in the UN made the largest probably ever consultation that have been done in the UN for the post-2015 agenda, for what should be the goals and the development framework after 2015. And 1,300,000 people has voted because we have put out there a platform and consultations at the national level for people to express their priorities. And there are some very interesting things that came out from that consultation. The first two priorities, I think, that we expected, education and health, are the first two priorities that people put out there. But the third one was good governance, was governments that are responsive to people. And that was a surprise. It came before energy or water or some of the other very urgent needs that people have. But people understand right now how important good governance is, how important governance that are responsive to people, that are transparent and accountable. So what we are discussing here today is not a small part of this global agenda. It's a very important part of that global agenda. Because our world is, as I said yesterday, is more complex, interconnected, and also unpredictable than ever before. And so are the challenges that we face. as countries strive for prosperity and improvements in the quality of life of their citizens, and as their citizens are more demanding and demand more participation and have more voice, they must make the policymakers more sophisticated decisions in much less time than ever before. The pressure on national governments, non-state actors, development agencies, and donors to achieve and demonstrate sustainable results is huge and will only increase as the post-2015 development agenda emerges. No doubt the Millennium Development Goals were an important milestone in this direction, setting concrete targets and outcomes for the improvement of millions around the world. But since 2000, where the Millennium Development Goals were created and built, the world has changed a great deal. Aspirations and expectations are high, so we must learn from experience, successes as much as failures, understand better what works, why, and in what context. This is what evaluations can help us with. Understand better so we can devise innovative and appropriate solutions to complex development problems. Evaluations help us to bridge the gap, as I said yesterday, between experience and knowledge. Because the exchange of experience is very easy, but the exchange of knowledge is very difficult. To go a step up from an experience that we judge as positive to knowledge that is a demonstrated experience that made a difference is a very important step to go forward. The theme of this conference, Solutions to Challenges Linked to Independence, Credibility, and Use of Evaluations, is therefore very timely. The challenge for the governments in result-based evaluations is not only dealing with the complexity of context and multiple layers of program responses, but also the diversity of cultures and actors, as well as their high expectations to measure results. Of course, we know that lasting change does not happen overnight. So one of the main problems that we have is to be able to balance the short-term need to show progress with the long-term goal of sustainable human development. Evaluations can provide critical information to ensure that development interventions take longer-term and interconnected challenges into account, despite the short-term nature of the planned actions and projects. We also need to resist the temptation of two things. First, going for the quick wins and the low-hanging fruits, because the quick wins and the low-hanging fruits, as important as they may be in the short term, are not necessarily the ones that will make sustainable development for the future in the long term. And second, to address the measurability challenge. To measure impact, that does not mean that everything is quantifiable. Many times, we know that the things we cannot put a number to are the most important ones. So if we go only to the quantifiable ones and avoid the challenge of measuring what cannot be quantifiable, we will be missing the real nature of sustainable development. And I give you only two examples. Institutional building and capacity building is not so easy to measure and to quantify, but are essential for sustainable development and for the sustainability of whatever gains we have in the short term. So we need to find a way to measure if we cannot measure it in an arithmetical way. And I had the privilege to be in a gathering just 2 days ago where Amartya Sen is given a course in Harvard precisely on the nature of measurability. And he was telling, it's difficult to understand Amartya when he talks about philosophy because he's so deep and so complex. But he was really making us think again about the substance of measurability and not only the arithmetical part of measurability into development. And this is why national evaluation capacities are not only increasingly critical to countries' overall ability to capture and demonstrate results to a variety of constituencies, but also to promote learning and enable decision makers to make informed decisions and plan strategically. We in UNDP are convinced that the success of development interventions depends in part on the ability to carry out credible evaluations and use them to make evidence-based decisions. And that is why evaluation must be considered from the planning stage of the program cycle and be an integral part of all its phases. In doing so, we will also increase what we call the evaluability of the programs, since the information necessary to carry out a good evaluation is many times missing. So by integrating evaluation from the beginning, the quality of the program itself, but also the monitoring and available information for evaluation can improve substantially. The previous two national evaluation capacity conferences in Morocco and South Africa emphasized the need to build better institutions' capacities to manage development programs. The focus was on improving organizational systems and processes and on developing incentives for better performance and results. These conferences stressed the need to develop individual skills and competences within an enabling environment that allows for more inclusive, collaborative, and responsive plans, programs, and service delivery systems. Looking at the preparations of this conference, I see that similar issues have emerged. Most of the participating countries have highlighted improving program quality, oversight, and accountability as their highest priorities. National systems that facilitate independent and credible evaluations play an important role in achieving these priorities by generating evidence and objective information on how improvements can be made. This is why institutionalizing evaluation systems and practices is so important. As development practices are evolving to respond to a rapidly changing and increasingly complex context, so must evaluation evolve as a profession and as a process. Let me just say that evaluation must be more flexible and nimble, more inclusive and collaborative, and more responsive without compromising the rigor and independence needed for its credibility. We are talking about evaluations that are not only important after the fact, but we are talking about evaluations that do help us improve the outcome while we are in the process of making the program happen. So it's not only the post-evaluation of the program, but also the ability of evaluations to help us correct or change course while we are carrying out the program. Let me mention some promising new approaches related to what I just said. A, citizens' engagement, broad-based involvement of national stakeholders, including beneficiaries, enhances not only the ownership of and mutual accountability for results, but also the credibility and transparency of the evaluation exercise. B, harmonizing evaluations with program cycle facilitates their use to make necessary improvements or adjustments as the program is being implemented. C, faster feedback loops between monitoring and evaluation allow frequent exchange of information and data to support decision-making on a real-time basis. D, open data and easily accessible performance data systems promote transparency. And E, we need to train and exchange how best to carry out these approaches so evaluations and evaluators evolve in this direction. No doubt, these conferences have a lot to contribute on facing these challenges. Let me just say a few words before finalizing about UNDP and how we intend to walk the talk. That is very, very important. And I am very happy to say that UNDP walks the talk and has invested considerably efforts over the past 3 years to strengthen result-based management program and performance learning from evaluation, and results reporting. We are seeing a stronger culture of results taking root in the organization. And changing a culture is not easy. You know, when you are in an organization, in a country, or in the National Evaluation Office, you know, changing the culture of those that have to be the beneficiaries organizationally from the evaluations is not easy. But when you do, then things happen in a way that are not imposed, but internalizes evaluation within what we do every day in our organization. You know that we have approved, or no, you don't know, but I want you to know that we have just approved our new strategic plan for the period 2014-2017 in UNDP. And we really made a special effort in its design and formulation to take into account the evaluative evidence provided by our independent evaluation office. I think that Indran didn't sleep for 6 months, more or less, to be able to provide us with all the evaluations that we needed to have a new strategic plan that will be evidence-based in what the evaluation was telling us. But we know that this has, at the same time, to permeate the rest of the organization. So the impulse will not come only from the top, but we will build it bottom-up. That is why we recently launched the Country Office Support Initiative, which builds on existing efforts to improve program and project management and aims to strengthen country office capacities for evidence-based program cycle management, support business models, review of UNDP monitoring and evaluation capacity at the regional and country levels, ensure a smooth transition from our current strategic plan to the next one with a focus on evidence-based results monitoring and reporting. Let me say very clearly that at the organizational level, we are committed to ensuring that evaluation is considered from the outset within the design of our programs, and we take measures to ensure that the lessons learned from evaluations inform the work of the organization as a whole at the global, regional, and country level. And this is so important because we talk about transparency and accountability. But you know, without evaluation and evidence-based, we cannot go for the step that really impacts development, you know. If we stay only at the pilot level, we will never impact reality. We need to scale up. And the only way to scale up is to have a very strong evidence-based evaluative information that will allow you really to do the most difficult thing to do in development, that is to replicate a successful experience and to learn from it how to bring it to other countries or even within the same country to scale up. The use of evaluation for learning is then a key responsibility of senior management at headquarters and in country offices. We have also engaged in different forms, although it was not part of our original mandate, in a range of activities, especially through our country offices, to support national capacity for result-based management, including monitoring and evaluation, and are encouraged to use national results frameworks and performance indicator for monitoring and evaluating UNDP contribution. So I think that in this new phase of UNDP, we will have to engage much more with the national evaluation offices, because we really want to use the country's capacity, the country's information, the country's evaluative capacity to be able to understand also what is our contribution, but also what is the results of the program that are carried together with the government. For example, in line with UNDP's evaluation policy, UNDP program units promote and coordinate South-South and trilateral cooperation in support of strengthening national capacities for evaluation at the country level. South-South cooperation is a powerful tool to tackle common development challenges. And I was glad to be given by Clear, by Christina here, a book precisely on South-South solutions, because we know that South-South solutions can play a strong role in promoting and strengthening national evaluation capacities and addressing the urgent concerns confronting development evaluation today. The National Evaluation Conference, as this one, provide forums for discussion of evaluation issues confronting countries and enable participants to draw on recent and innovative experiences of other countries. Through this, UNDP seeks to facilitate the formulation of long-term initiatives to strengthen national capacities for public policy evaluation and enhance the understanding of evaluation as a powerful tool to improve people's lives through better policymaking, public accountability, and learning. To promote greater use of evaluative evidence, UNDP has established a searchable database of performance ratings and findings from all project evaluations available since 2008 in the Online Evaluation Resource Center. And this database will provide a crucial tool for analysis of on-the-ground project performance that can be used to guide and improve programmatic choices. We have already used it to inform, as I said, the new strategic plan and the review of the last strategic plan, and the database will allow staff to quickly identify relevant lessons in real time for program quality. The second point I want to make about what we are doing is the issue of the independence of the UNDP Evaluation Office. That is something that I'm really proud of. The Evaluation Office reports directly to the Executive Board of the Member States and not to the UNDP Administrator. Its institutional independence is clarified in terms of budget, staff recruitment, work program, and the appointment, renewal, and dismissal of the director. Dismissal is just to say we are not thinking about that. Of the director of the Evaluation Office. These are all tasks that are in the purview of the Executive Board and not in the purview of the administration. The evaluation policy specifies that to avoid conflict of interest, the evaluators cannot be directly involved in UNDP policy setting or decision making, and the head of the Evaluation Office cannot be hired after its term in the organization. We consider these measures very important for ensuring the independence and credibility of evaluations. So during the course of this conference, you will have the opportunity to deliberate on some critical issues about independence and credibility, and to share experiences so to promote the practice and culture of evaluations. As we move forward towards 2015 and the International Year for Evaluation, that will be also 2015, I call upon all partners to further redouble their efforts to strengthen national evaluation capacities and harness the wealth of knowledge and expertise in development thinking in the Global South. UNDP will provide resources and tools to help facilitate knowledge exchange and South-South cooperation over the next several years and in the months and years beyond. This is the opportunity to position evaluation more strategically in the policy arena and raise awareness of the importance of monitoring and evaluation for the achievement of development goals and other priorities at the international and national levels. In this more complex development environment, it is incumbent upon us to keep evaluation relevant by recognizing and responding to the challenges of use, credibility, and independence in evaluation. Let me close by reaffirming that UNDP is fully committed to supporting your efforts to strengthen national evaluation capacities. I wish you all a productive conference, and I look forward to the outcome of your deliberations to help us all drive this agenda forward. Thank you very much.